I'm about to tell you exactly what I would do if I had to start email marketing for my e-commerce brand from scratch in 2025. For context, I've been in the email marketing game for years, have made over $10 million for e-commerce brands in that time, and have helped over 50 physical product brands, D2C brands, double, triple, even quadruple their email revenue in multiple occasions. I've worked with skincare brands, CBD companies, fitness equipment stores, self-help brand, training programs, and tons of others, you name it. So it's fair to say that after all this time in the game, I know a thing or two about how to optimize an email marketing strategy, start it from scratch, and make it drive massive results for your brand. And if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, here is exactly what I would do to start. All right, so step one is focusing on the fundamentals before you go on to some fancy tactics. You need to develop a rock solid understanding of the fundamentals of successful email marketing. When I first started, I was extremely obsessed with random tactics and tricks to get more revenue opportunities in the door. I would just try every new hack or trick or whatever I saw on social media. So I ended up sending emails with crazy GIFs, overly designed templates, and just trying to get too clever with subject lines. But while I was trying to get cute with all these little tips and tactics, I was ignoring the foundations that actually drive results, especially from scratch. So the first three things that I would focus on understanding are these. Number one, deliverability. If your emails aren't hitting the inbox and you don't know why, then nothing else matters. This means proper domain authentication, keeping your list clean, and maintaining your sender reputation. Number two is customer psychology. We simply want to understand exactly what motivates people to open, click, and buy. This is about benefits over features, addressing objections, and creating a seamless path to purchase. Number three is basic email structure. I see so many brands get this part wrong. The basic anatomy of a high converting email is this: a compelling subject line that drives curiosity, preview text that reinforces or adds to that subject line, a strong header section that grabs attention and makes me want to click, and then below the fold sections that build curiosity, support the header section, give them options, tell a story, whatever it is to motivate that viewer to click and move on to the next stage. And of course, if it's a plain text email, it's a little different. In case you don't know, plain text is when you just send them a strictly text-based email and no design. I take at least 2 to 4 weeks just studying these fundamentals before I even went ahead and implemented anything. Please trust me, this foundation will pay dividends for your brand for years. All right, step two, choose the right platform and set it up properly. If I was starting right now in 2025, I'd go straight to Klaviyo for all of my e-commerce email marketing. Yes, there are cheaper options like MailChimp, OmniSend, a ton of other options, but I've tried almost all of them and none of them compare to the simplicity and the accessibility that you get in Klaviyo. In fact, we recently switched a client from MailChimp to Klaviyo and immediately boosted their overall revenue from email 43% in just the first month. Here's what I'd focus on when you're setting up. Number one is a proper integration. So whether you're using Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, whatever it is, make sure you have a proper integration between Klaviyo and your actual e-commerce platform. Number two is the data structure. So really all this means is making sure that all of your metrics and events are functioning properly in Klaviyo. Number three is list management. So on day one, you want to build out all of the core segments that you're going to be using for your campaign emails. This completely prevents the mess of trying to organize everything later on. And then number four is some templates. Just as a just in case scenario, I would build 2 to 3 templates that you can rely on, but keep them simple and make them focus on conversion. These are the basic foundations that you need for a proper email strategy that's actually going to succeed. So make sure you don't skip any of these and you actually do them right. All right, step three would be building out these 4 very critical email flows or automation. If I were starting over from scratch, these are the 4 flows that I would start with. Number one is your welcome series. So this isn't just like a thanks for subscribing email. You want a 5-step sequence that does all the following. Number one, delivers on whatever offer that you gave them in order to get them to join the list. It also introduces your brand and some of your products. Email 2 should educate them on what makes your brand or your products different. Email 3 should just give them a ton of social proof from your customer reviews. Number 4 should just prevent your unique selling proposition or your offer with clear benefits. And then email 5, you want to do a last chance or a reminder for whatever offer you gave them. All right, the second critical flow that you want to get built out is the abandoned cart flow. So this is a big money maker. If I was just getting started, I'd set up these 3 emails. Number 1 is just a simple reminder of their cart and what they forgot about. Number 2 is also a reminder, but you're going to mix in some social proof and objection handling here. And then number 3 is a last chance with an extra incentive if needed, but also more objection handling, answering FAQs, things like that. The third big flow that I'd get set up is the post-purchase flow. So this is extremely critical to retention and retaining your customers over time. The 2 biggest things that you want to make sure that you're implementing in that post-purchase flow is number 1, confirming their decision and making sure that they're confident in the decision they make. Essentially, you want to remove all buyer's remorse right away in that post-purchase flow. Then you want to make sure that you're educating them on different ways that they can use your product or get the best results with it. You can do things like shipping updates and delivery check-ins. These are also very helpful for the customer. And then towards the end of this post-purchase flow, you want to mix in like a review request or replenishment reminder if it's a product that they should be buying again every 30 days or so. And then the other very big principle that you want to make sure you're incorporating into your post-purchase flow is this: upsell them on different products as soon as it makes sense to do so. You want to make sure that they have time to actually experience the product that they already bought before you try hitting them with upsells, or people are just going to get annoyed. But the biggest thing to keep in mind with these upsells is harmony. Make sure that what you're upselling them makes sense with what they originally purchased. You can do different branching in Klaviyo flows to make sure that they only get a certain upsell based on what they purchase. All right, the fourth flow that I'd make sure I have set up is the browse abandonment flow. So this is going to be very similar to your abandoned cart flow. You want to remind them of their order, give them an offer if you're willing to do that. And then it really just comes down to education and objection handling from there. You want to really think about the objections that someone would have while they're scrolling on your site looking at products. Because as soon as they hit a product page and they don't add to cart and they leave, that's where they're going to get entered into our browse abandonment flow. These 4 flows will give you the most ROI with the least amount of ongoing work. I would just put all my energy into perfecting these and getting them live before I moved on to campaigns. Which brings us into step 4, which is developing a value-first campaign strategy. This is all about building a sustainable campaign strategy that doesn't burn your email list out. You do not want to be blasting promos and offers and coupon codes all the time to your list. This will burn them out, and they'll also be trained to only purchase when they get that discount. We like to stick to a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 value to promotion ratio, which means for every promo email that you send, you want to also send 3 to 4 value emails. So a good example of this would be in week 1. On Monday, you send an educational piece of content about a specific product category. And then on Thursday, you send out an entertainment email or like a story-based piece of content. And then let's say on week 2, on Monday, you send out a community-centered piece of content or like a UGC piece of content. UGC is user-generated content. And then on Thursday, you can send out a promotional offer. That, for example, would follow the 3-to-1 value to promotion ratio. The 4 content pillars that we like to stick to are educational, entertainment, community, and promotional. The key is to make even your promotional emails feel a little bit valuable. All right, step number 5 is implementing a proper analytics tracking system. This is what's going to help you make data-driven statistics based on your email marketing results. So if I was starting fresh, I'd be extremely obsessive about tracking everything from day 1, because you cannot improve what you don't measure. Here are the basic things that I would track. For revenue metrics, I would track revenue per email, revenue per recipient, and attributed revenue by flow or by campaign. Then for engagement metrics, I would track open rate, divided out by segment, click rates, divided by campaign type, and unsubscribe rates, and watch for spikes in those unsubscribe rates in correlation with your campaign emails. What you want to do here is simply set up basic dashboards in Klaviyo and even move these to a separate spreadsheet so that you can review all the data on a weekly basis side by side. That way you can see what types of emails get the most engagement, which flows are driving the most revenue, when's the best time to send, all these types of data points. All right, the 6th and final step is using segmentation to deliver increasingly relevant content. So as my list grows, I would focus on creating these key segments. Number 1 would be engagement-based segments. So you'd have highly engaged people that have opened or clicked at least once in the last 15 to 30 days. Moderately engaged people who have opened or clicked at least once in the last like 30 to 90 days. And then you have like your at-risk people who haven't opened or clicked in over 90 days. Then number 2, you have purchase behavior segments. So these are going to be first-time buyers, repeat buyers, VIP buyers, and then at-risk customers who haven't purchased in a long time but did buy previously. And then number 3 are going to be interest-based segments. So you can segment people out by product category interest, like what they've clicked on or what they've bought. You can segment them by the type of content that they've engaged with, and you can segment them based on price sensitivity, meaning they've bought things at a lower price versus a higher price. And that is literally the step-by-step process that I would take if I was getting into email marketing from scratch as a beginner. From the bottom all the way to driving massive amounts of revenue for my e-commerce brand. Now, if you follow every single step in this process to a T, I promise you, you will see an increase in your revenue. But doing this alone is a lot harder than it seems. You'll need to master the fundamentals, choose and properly set up your platform, build out all of your flows, develop a content strategy, implement tracking, and create advanced segmentation. That's obviously hundreds of hours of work, not to mention the steep learning curve if you're just getting started. And with everything that I've given you, you really have two options. Number one, you can do it yourself, knowing all of the problems that you'll face. And of course, I wish you the best if you're doing that. Or you can work with me and my team to help you implement all of these principles for your e-commerce brand. If you pick option number two, then hit the first link in the description to book a quick call with me and my team. We specialize in helping e-commerce brands that do bare minimum about $50,000 to $100,000 a month get more revenue in the door and retain customers longer using email and SMS marketing. We've helped dozens of brands double, triple, sometimes even quadruple their email revenue in just 30 to 90 days. Also, check out this other video on the screen right now to learn how to craft high converting email campaigns. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.